Welcome to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your hardcore host, Rickhead, and I'm joined by the hardcore crew. First, from the Skeleton Realms, he's the Lord Skeleton himself, Joseph Knight. Joe, what's going on?
Nothing much. We got some news to take care of, and always put me last. So when I answer, I don't drown everybody out with their time. You can hear the whole rant.
And then, of course, from Lance Moss TV, he's the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, what's shaking?
Not much. And before Joe goes on a rant, it's Joe at SkullUnderstream.com.
Oh, come on. I didn't even say anything yet.
Well, nice young.
It's a preemptive giving out of the email address.
All right. We'll let it go that time.
All right. Well, let's talk about William Regal. There were rumors for the past couple of weeks on and off, but during the Ring of Honor Final Battle media scrum, Tony Khan has confirmed that Regal will be leaving AEW. This after Regal goes back home to tend to his mother, who had his second stroke, he will be going back to the WWE so he can join his son, Charlie Dempsey. Now, I think, guys, we can say it's fair. That's a little bit more about his going back to his son, as opposed to going back to a company that who's with for 20 years, and also a bigger paycheck. Also, there was a last note that EC3 stated in an interview that Regal was immediately regretted his decision to go to AEW. There was so much maturity issues within management. So Lance, what's your take on all this?
Okay, I watch NXT on while I have it on while I'm doing my Tuesday show. I thought Dempsey looked familiar. That explains a lot. And let's face it, with everything that's went down in AEW, everybody could kind of figure they had a little bit of problems in management.
Well, Joe, you know what? Obviously there was issues in management, but I think honestly, if Regal had stayed there, I'm sure he probably could have hopefully maybe worked things out, so to speak, or maybe made things better.
Possibly. You know, this is the problem that
Joe?
Joe?
Well, I can't say, Joe, that you're not lost for words. Obviously, Joe is having some kind of technical problems because we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, you know what, Joe? We're going to get back to you. You want to be last? Well, I guess you got to be last. So let's move along.
Joe, you can't say that. He's talking to me telepathically. No, Joe, I will not say that.
All right. So, Pro Wrestling Illustrated named the Usos the top tag team of 2022. While FTR did come in at second place, here is the top tag teams for this year. Obviously, as I said, it's the Usos, FTR as the second, Briscoe Brothers, the AEW World Trios Champions, Death Triangle, Fuqua Double Crazy, RK Bro, the Good Brothers, Young Bucks, the Hex, which is a women's tag team, Allison Kay and Marty Bell, and the number 10 one is Violence is Forever, Kevin Koo and Dominic Guerin. Now the funny thing is, Dax Harwood was not happy about PWI's decision and even teased that Paul Heyman must have made the list. While Cash Wheeler was disappointed, he also gave Usos props in a recent tweet saying, "You deserve it." So, Lance, I was a little pissed when I read that, but apparently Cash Wheeler is kind of giving the props.
Well, I mean, the Usos are a good tag team, but I'd probably put FTR on number one. And I'm a little surprised, and as big of a fan of the Briscoe brothers as I am, I'm surprised they made it this high because, well, with all the controversy that's been going on surrounding them and that tweet from a few years back, I'm surprised that they made it. I'm glad they did, don't get me wrong, but I'm just kind of a little bit surprised.
All right. Um, Joe, are you back with us, Joe? Lance, can you shoot him a text real quick and tell him we can't hear him? What are he saying? Um, so while we do that, we do apologize for this break. Um, we're gonna move on to another topic. As we all know, that Cody Rhodes has been out of action with the injury that he suffered last year. It was a tricep injury. It was a really bad one. Um, a lot of people said he wouldn't be back until like maybe late spring, maybe even early early summer. But apparently, Cody Rhodes has been working out hard and gaining more weight than he's ever had in his entire career. Right now, his weight goal is 240 pounds. And as I said, there's no official return date, but a lot of people have been speculating that he could appear in the upcoming Royal Rumble. Now, Lance, there's still all the rumors about The Rock appearing up at the Royal Rumble. And I take that with a grain of salt because The Rock has not been seen for years. You know, uh, certainly not on a wrestling capacity. So for him to come in to win the Royal Rumble and then go face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and win the title, uh, that doesn't seem to be viable for me, or at least on my case.
Well, hell, I've even heard crazy enough rumor, like you said, him winning the fucking thing. Especially with, and I hate to bring this up, his latest movie, Black Adam, didn't do that well.
I actually thought it was
See,
a phenomenal movie. But go ahead.
yeah, but I'm talking about actually in the box office. But honestly, I'd rather see Cody come back and go against Strowman.
Yeah, I think again, I feel the same way. So, and of course, Joe is saying, give us a minute and.
Yeah. He had some household technical difficulties.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains.
Yeah.
At least YouTube will probably be happy.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Oh, Joe, you're back.
Yeah, power went off and then back on again.
Oh man, all right. Well, we're gonna go back real quick and just do a recap.
Okay.
Did you hear us talk about Tony Khan? Confirming that William Regal is going back to WWE.
Right. Okay. Let me continue now before I was rudely interrupted by God. He's the one that said you're not going cuckoo today for Cocoa Puffs. All right. Real quick thing with Tony Khan, and I'm going with Regal. Tony Khan's having a lot of problem backstage. You know, you've got the immaturity of the Young Bucks making fun of Punk, which, yes, it's deserved, and, and Omega, but, and then there's so many issues. You got this slutty Saraya who wants to bring her generation into fucking wrestling because they failed. You've got all of these issues. Rampage had the lowest ratings viewership and ratings Friday. So this is not looking good. Now with Regal leaving, they're going to lose another major guy who could have helped them stay the course. Technically, I think they need someone to tell Tony Khan dead to his face that you're fucking up this company. We need to change directions because they're suffering in ratings. And if Regal goes back, then obviously not, because it's confirmed he got a better deal, and with his son over in NXT, I think that's going to even help. They're probably going to do something similar like the Combat Club, so I would not be surprised that Regal stays and goes there. So again, Tony Khan's his company is suffering. So I don't know what else to tell you guys, but I think honestly that's what I am looking at, and I think it's going to keep It's going to keep hurting him and the company.
Well, excuse me. Actually, Tony Khan did address the low ratings on Rampage, and apparently he says he's going to be taking more action and be putting some more higher rating, like bigger, big time matches on Rampage. But I don't think it's the quality of the show. I think it's the timeline. I think it's Lance and I were talking about it. 10 o'clock on a Friday night, that's not exactly something that everybody wants to, especially right after watching SmackDown.
Well, the thing is, it, you have to put it that because you don't want to go head to head.
Oh, obviously, absolutely.
That's one of the problems that the guy is having. But also, what I am seeing with this same scenario out of him is honestly, look at they're so interested in pushing, they're pushing Soraya. They want to push this WWE guy, form that WWE guy. And then you over push the Young Bucks and Omega again. I would like to see more of the other guys, that could do better. And I want to see a title change. I want to see literally the either the Dark Order with the trios title. I want to see somebody else hold like another they need another tag title, the TNT or TBS tag titles, so they can give these lower guys. The quality is just there right now. I think Rampage is like that, like their version of, remember WCW Thunder. They just throw matches in there and hope that something sticks. When I see now I'm calling it Thunder. When I see Rampage, I just like I'm not happy with the product. And
I almost compare Rampage to Sunday Night Heat.
Thank you, Lance. It's one of those low shows. So me personally, again, Rick, I critique shows. So when I see this show, that's what I'm looking at. That's why I enjoy watching Dark and Elevation, because I can actually see different talent get a fair shake. Sure, they're jobbers in the current version of it, but honestly, I think it's much better product than the other ones.
Okay, that's a fair point. Like I said, I watched Rampage, and it is kind of like a toss, coin toss. One week it's great, another week it's you might get a great one because there's no like title matches, no specialty matches. Yeah. And I think that's can really cause an issue. It's like, just throwing shows like that together just for the sake. They do have people like Hook, I can say Jade Cargill for the most, who try to work exclusively on the the TBS Rampage show. But I think this time slot is just a really bad. It's really what's hurting them the most. And then we also talked about the PWI, how your favorite tag team, the Usos, are the number one out of 500 tag team, Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Okay. Lance, did you get your part in?
Yes, you did. Yeah, we talked about this real quick.
Let me crack I was going to say crack a bottle, but the Usos do that already. First of all, them as the number one tag team in PWI. Boy, did somebody fucking pay these people off. I know how PWI works. It goes by whoever pays you to pretty much go in there. You have FTR.
So it's more popularity Wrestling Illustrated.
It's more of who can grease your hand better.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and it's been like that. Ignore. That's what you look at the PWI 500 and you see scrubs who should never be in a wrestling ring, and they're high numbers. Because one, they don't have anybody. Two, their publication sucks. Because now there's no talent. There's two companies when back in the day, and I am an avid PWI magazine guy. I used to love watching. I had
I
my
was too.
Yeah.
and they had magazines galore. They had Inside Wrestling. I have magazines sealed. This is how precious these magazines were back then. I have them sealed and hanging in my wall because I don't want them damaged. But when you look at these today and you automatically pick out the Usos, there's something wrong with that. Nobody, and again, it's about greasing the palms.
Well, let
If
me
this
talk
was,
about the top 10. Excuse me. Now, under them is the number 2, of course, is FTR. Number 3 is the Briscoe Brothers. Number 4 is Death Triangle. Number 5 is Fuka Double Crazy, whoever they are. Number 6, RK Bro. 7, the Good Brothers. 8, the Young Bucks. 9, the Hex. And number 10, Violence is Forever. Now, interestingly enough, Dax Hardwood was not happy about being chosen number 2, and he even tweeted, it goes, who wrote this edition of PWA? Was it Paul Heyman? And however, his tag team partner, Cash Wheeler, was a little bit more sympathetic. He actually gave props to the Usos. So, well, I can understand more of what Dax's frustration is because.
well, let's face it, the DUI brothers have. Let's look at tag teams here, and that pitiful top 10. I came from an era where it's like Road Warriors, Four Horsemen, Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express. You got all of the here we go over in YouTube. We have Terry 3G says evening to all. Mark K, how you doing, Mark? Welcome to the stream. He says, wait, what? No Acclaimed? Yeah, and they are the current AEW tag champs.
They're on the list, but this is the top 10.
Yeah, that's the top 10. So here's where, again, the scenario comes down to. The DUI brothers, all right, are so overpushed because of Roman Reigns. Okay. Because there's no talent in WWE. I'm sorry. There is no fucking talent. RK Bro, are you serious? Randy Orton, who's a phenomenal talent, but his time is coming slowly going. You got some fucking, meth head with who thinks he's Kevin Von Erich in fucking slippers and bare feet in the ring.
Right.
That, and then you got like the Briscoes. No disrespect to either Briscoes, but what have they done? Nothing. They haven't done nothing. Anderson and Gallows, the most recent fucking thing they've done is hold the TNA tag title or Impact tag title. Wow. That's going to really put money in your pockets. This obviously the PWI has slid, so they're not even on sale anymore. You have to only get the PDF one online if you're lucky to find a magazine, because they don't really sell them anymore, because nobody fucking buys the fucking publication. Only you get it by subscription and by PDF file, digital. So it's technically because there's no one else in professional wrestling who stands out besides FTR. Okay, the Acclaimed are a joke. They're just given there because of storyline and because they have some form of fucking scissoring. They love seeing lesbians or love gay sex. I don't know.
Well, the funny thing is that, like I said, as much as, they even annoyed me, they have a huge fan base in AEW.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you have nobody else, of course you're going to cheer for them.
Well, I mean, come on, they have a huge, let's not, joke ourselves. When it comes to AEW and their tag team division, they have a pretty great set of tag teams. Right now, like I said, FTR, they have Swerve and Our Glory. Unfortunately,
not anymore. Not anymore. Swerve and Our Glory's gone.
No, okay. Well, yeah, they're slowly dissolving. But, they had the Varsity Blondes for some reasons not being used.
And they're singles now, because Brian Pillman Jr. is now registered as a solo.
Okay. But you also Best Friends, Dark Order, And that's just ones that's just coming off the top of my head right now. I'm sure if I picked a few
Yeah,
other
you have
ones.
Death Triangle. You have the Bucks.
Exactly.
They do
Private
have great
Party.
tag teams, but the problem is the major tag titles. And this is I give kudos to the old NWA for having a United States tag team titles because while you saw teams that from the Midnight Express, you saw the Russians, you saw the Andersons, you saw people who generally sometimes never really could get they didn't have the spot yet ready for them for the main world tag titles. They were given these US tag titles as a way to keep those belts circulating. And 9 times out of 10 the secondary tag belts were the most active belt. I think positively, if it was a TBS tag title, or a TNT tag title, or a US tag title, I don't think they would call it that. But imagine if they did that. Best friends, you have, the Dark Order, like you said. They have other teams in the Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt. They can team up. You have the whatever private party or whatever the fuck they were called.
Private Party and Top
Yeah,
Flight.
yeah, Top Flight. There you go. Those guys could win belts back and forth. They would be incredible. But now you put the tag belts on a team that does scissoring. I read somewhere that Nyla Rose tried to do scissoring to herself and it worked.
Yeah,
Oh,
she cut
Lord,
something
mercy.
right off.
No, she actually still had it on and just
Oh,
shoved it in
oh,
a
Jesus.
hole.
Okay, well, you know what? I was better
Yeah.
not knowing that, but okay.
Yeah. And then they invited that thing to a school to teach a bunch of kids. Well, guys, if you fail in one shit, don't worry, change your gender and you can
Oh,
dominate in
God.
another.
Oh, jeez. All right, moving along.
We're moving along.
Apparently,
Now you
Cody.
can say the email, Lance.
Joe at
Thank
ScoldensRealm.com.
Thank you. I love that.
All right. Now, of course, Lance, he always leaves out which email. So, but very smart, Lance.
I still get emails. I get messages. Okay, guys, you can message me. Just do the hashtag Scoldrens Realm. You can message me. I get them on Facebook. And people, in fact, I'm going to look it up real quick.
Okay, hold on. We'll get to your
Okay,
hate
go
mail.
ahead. Go ahead.
We're talking about Cody Rhodes. Apparently, he's looking to return sooner than later. He's actually also bulking up in his time off. His target weight is 240 pounds, which is going to be the largest he's ever been. And a lot of people are speculating that he could be the guy to come back in the Rumble and possibly maybe win it and go face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Unfortunately, more people are saying The Rock's going to come back and do that. And I'm like, I don't see it. It doesn't make sense. So Joe, your thoughts on Cody Rhodes coming back early and hopefully winning the Royal Rumble and going on to WrestleMania?
I can tell you honestly, there's two ways to do this. If you're going to do it the smart way, yes, you have Cody Rhodes come back, make sure he's 100%, let him win the Rumble, then challenge Roman Reigns for the world title at WrestleMania. Great, sounds good. But now you got to look at the other side of that, Rick. Well, that's good wrestling sense there because Cody can give you a great match. Where is the more money factor going to be? Who's going to put more butts in seats? Who's going to purchase more pay-per-views? You know what? Who's going to get people to come in more?
Well,
obviously, it will be a Roman Reigns versus a Rock. Now, I don't know if you see Young Rock, but they did have a little future flashback, if you want to call it that, or flash forward.
Okay.
Where The Rock was doing, he did the Young Rock, and in his cabinet, he had the Universal title inside that cabinet, speculating that he wrestled Roman Reigns and beat him for it. So that storyline might be working in there,
Okay. Well, you know what?
That's how I see it.
Let's say this puts us in seats, okay? So, let's say The Rock comes on, he wins the Royal Rumble, and goes on to WrestleMania. Of course, it's going to be a packed house, but I think it's going to be a packed house whether The Rock is there or not. So, does The Rock win? And
No,
you know, okay, so he's
no.
going to go in there just to lose. So why
He's
not
gonna
do this
go.
at something like SummerSlam, a one match, or I mean, it doesn't fit.
It does fit. You got to look at it. Don't look at it as a wrestling part. You got to look at it as a money making factor. If you're me personally, okay, I'm setting up a wrestling show. We got a show going in June. I got two great guys who can wrestle for my heavyweight title. They can get in there, they can do the job, but it's missing that pull factor. It was missing that one. Even though both guys can give you 100% a good match, it's missing that one factor. So I had to get a name guy to be part of a triple threat match. That's and it started selling tickets faster, pre-solds. So did people want to see a good match or they just want to see the name? Obviously, they felt the name was much better. In this case, one is WrestleMania, biggest card of WWE throughout. You could say your Survival Series, you could say SummerSlam, you could say Royal Rumble. WrestleMania is the pinnacle. And why else would The Rock want to go in a secondary show like SummerSlam or Royal Rumble or anything like that? No. Bigger payday means Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. So you're going into WrestleMania, bigger payday. He could do the whole tribal chief versus the great one. And if you do the story right, you give the win to Roman Reigns. Rock passes the torch to him because Rock doesn't need fucking to wrestle.
But
He's
he
got
doesn't have
all
the
the.
torch to begin with.
Yes, he does. He is the Rock out of the whole Hanoi family.
Yeah.
He is the man. He is the where he surpassed Roman Reigns in about 6 months of what Roman has done in all his career.
Okay, I will give you
So
the fact that yes, I'm not talking about Dwayne Johnson, the actor. Okay, because if you take all that actor
no,
stuff,
no, no. Even the wrestling part, the man's has been a world tag champ, a U.S. champ. He's been in, well, not a U.S. I'm sorry. He's been an intercontinental champ, multi-time world champion. He's an icon. He draws. Even Mark in over on the YouTube channel says, yeah, name identity comes first. Storylines in WWE are territory.
all right.
So that's basically money factor. More people want to see The Rock than see Cody. Obviously, not a knock against Cody, but that's the truth. It's like Stone Cold. We marked out more people watched WrestleMania when Stone Cold came out to take on Kevin Owens. Could Stone Cold wrestle like he used to? Absolutely not, because of injuries. But we all marked out. We got to see the rattlesnake one more time. Here is The Rock, who was from the Attitude Era, literally fucking went from Rocky Maivia with the stupid little suspender things and the little feathers or whatever the fuck they were to become a nation of domination, to become The Rock. And guess what? Every time he appeared, it went crazy. When he took on Hulk Hogan, it was a bigger boost than the main event. Now, you haven't seen him. You've seen him in movies. He comes back, boom. That's where people are going to spend the most money to watch. Fuck the rest of the show. The rest of the show, they can go fucking smack people. Go have some pigs wrestling, because that's not going to matter. No matter how great the other matches are, that's not going to matter because everybody wants to see that little bit of nostalgia. And The Rock is the name, and he is the name of the whole Hanoi Maivia family. So Roman is second in this family tree. Then you got the of course Rocky Johnson. Then you got the Samoans. Then you got the Usos and whatever Sika Samoa, whatever the fuck his name is, Umaga Jr. So that's where you're gonna see money value, and it makes absolutely perfect sense at WrestleMania to have The Rock come in, the forebearer of the family, taking on the young guy who wants to be the head of the table. Defeat The Rock, keep your title, then Cody can come later on at SummerSlam because better scenario. And I finish with my rant.
All right. So with that one, we're gonna move on to Cain Velasquez has reached a deal with AAA to do about 5 or more shows, give or take. Unlike other contracts, this right now is a per date basis because Velasquez right now is still facing his time for attempted murder. Uh, he started in the WWE, and that's pretty much right after when he was charged for attempted murder for someone who was apparently molesting his son. But apparently it wasn't him who attempted. He shot. He inadvertently shot somebody else. I forget how the whole story went, but it was kind of like I didn't mean to shoot him. I meant to shoot him, but didn't. So he was released actually on bail 2 weeks ago, but he still is facing up to 20 years in prison. Now, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. Despite whatever he did or why he did it, I'm not a fan of Cain Velasquez because I saw his match because he was like a UFC guy going into WWE, and it was a fucking train wreck. Joe, I don't know if you remember him or not.
Yes, I do. And first of all, I gotta say, what fucking gun did he get? Did he go to Acme and buy it from Bugs Bunny? That he aimed it at one person and it curved and it shot somebody else? Oh shit, sorry, bro. First of all, he's an ex-con and he's going back to jail. Why the fuck would AAA want to hire him? Are they suffering from a talent thing? They don't have enough fucking masked people to put in the ring? What the fuck is wrong with them? Not to say that the guy can't have a second chance. And hey, he has a right. If somebody tried to molest one of my kids or grandkids, I will be fucking facing the chair because I'll be fucking beating the piss out of them, drag the individual in the street and showing it off to the rest of the neighborhood that this is what should happen to our government right now, starting
Absolutely.
with Biden. So here's the thing. Giving him a second chance, knowing what type of person you're going to have, his wrestling skills are so limited that it's laughable. He makes freaking Nia Jax look like Bret Hart. You know.
Coming from you, that's a compliment.
Yes, it is. You know, he was in jail. He was released from jail. Now he's looking to go back. And AAA says, let's cash in on this guy's prison. What is he, Ken Patera? When WWE brought Ken Patera back from fucking like prison, remember when I don't know if you guys remember the story, but Ken Patera and Mr. Saito threw a boulder at a McDonald's because they didn't get served.
Oh, I think I do.
Then Ken Patera went away for like 4 years in jail. He was released and WWE brought him back. They did the whole Bobby Heenan kept saying he was an ex-con and all this stuff, and Ken Patera had a decent run, and then he left and went to the AWA, and his career went down the tubes. Then he went to team up with the Mighty McAfee. Go look that up on YouTube. Anyway, now you have Cain Velasquez. What is that guy? Who was the guy? Gene Knitsky. He looks like Gene Knitsky's little brother. So, yeah, that's how I see this guy. Now, he's coming back. What the fuck are they thinking, Rick?
Well, it's AAA, so as you said, I mean, I like the promotion. I've seen some of their matches; they're incredible. But I've yet to really follow his matches because every time I see Cain Velasquez, I don't want to look at the match because I know it's a fucking train wreck. I just point blank. But you know what, Lance? Can you cash in your thoughts on Cain Velasquez coming to AAA?
We all saw, what was it, him versus Brock in the Saudi show.
Yes, it was.
Not a good match. But they're AAA, whether you like it or you hate it, they're not cashing in on his WWE run. They are cashing in on what actually made him famous, his UFC run. That's got to be what it is because they couldn't think, oh, this is a great wrestler. No, it's got to be them just cashing in on his UFC run.
Yeah, and Velasquez is right now cashing in to pay. Like, you know what? I need these matches, so he can pay off his lawyer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's another little bit of a train wreck of news.
Well, you know what else? Cain Velasquez, why he needs the money? He's got to pay his parole board so he can get out on good time just to do these matches to go back in.
Well, all right. Moving on. Reports are coming out that Tony Khan is close to signing a deal with NBA star Liam McMorrow, an NBA star. Another one. Great. So far,
NBA or NFL?
NBA basketball. So far, it's only a handshake deal, but many believe it's just a matter of time before an official deal is signed. You know, I understand football players, ex-football players, ex-MMA players, MMA, but basketball players, aside from being tall, what do they have to offer, Joe?
Don't knock them, because Kevin Nash was a basketball player too.
When in college?
Yeah.
Yes.
And in Europe.
Yep.
He played for UT.
So they do have the size, they do have the speed, and some of them actually have muscle tone and weight. So if you see like today's basketball, I haven't seen basketball in a long time, but they do have builds, and they're like almost the new version. I would call them, I'm trying to attach a wrestling analogy to them. They are the
New Giants?
Yeah.
Not the New Giants. They are almost the Diamond Dallas Pages. They are the Kevin Nashes. They are the slimmer. Even El Gigante, as much as we make fun of El Gigante, he was a basketball player. And if you go back and look at his wrestling, and not his wrestling, but his basketball games, Jorge was a fucking incredible athlete. They just dumbed him down because they had to.
Well, let me give you a few stats on this Liam McMorrow. He's 7'2". He is 35 years of age. So, and he is 275 pounds.
Perfect wrestler.
7.2.
That's a skinny son of a bitch.
Yeah, put it like this: tall. He can put the weight. Because Kevin Nash is fucking tall, and he wasn't. If you look at his
Kevin Nash is 6'10", not 7'2".
Yeah, but he was. When you see him in his first debut, he was slimmed down. He was a tall, slim guy. Then he had to put the muscle tone and weight. I would say if he's willing to train, okay, if he's willing to train and willing to learn the craft and be passionate about the profession, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, well, Terry 3G chimed in, and he said Nash has said that if he didn't have his knees messed up, he would still have been playing the Euro League, as he is making like $2 million. So, go ahead, Joe. Sorry. Joe?
He cut his mic.
What?
Joe cut his mic.
Okay. Sorry. Well, but anyways, all right, Lance. So your thoughts on this gentleman, like Liam McMorrow?
Don't know who he is, but isn't the tall sumbitch with Jay Lethal and Sanjay ex-basketball?
Satnam Singh.
Hadn't he not done a damn thing?
He has done nothing aside from just being, like the little like.
Hot Darby Allin. That's about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Other than that, I've not seen him be in one match or one memorable match.
Yeah.
So Joe is still having audio problems. I shouldn't have cut him off. Maybe his mics would still be working.
Yeah.
All right. And you know what, guys? We're going to get on to one last topic. Dave Meltzer is reporting that CM Punk is ready and willing to move on with onto his next project. Obviously, AEW is yet to had make a move on officially releasing Punk from his contract. It's no big secret that Punk's relationship with AEW is quickly dissolving. AEW's already changed the cover of AEW Fight Forever. Now the question is, when will the fucking game come out?
Christmas 2023.
Yeah, Christmas 2020, whatever. Who knows? Uh,
What?
Hello, Joe. You back?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm
I
here.
was talking about CM Punk and how he's pretty much willing to move on to his next project, and that AEW is yet to give the contract, release them. It's obviously these, he's going to be leaving the company. So, but right now, again, we're talking about the Fight Forever, who just seems to like taking forever to get the game to be released. CM Punk was in the center, but now it's like they completely revamped it without CM Punk. So, Joe, it's obviously a matter of time before Punk is gone.
Oh, I think he's gone right now. They just haven't finalized any of the separation pay. And again, folks, I'm sorry if I've been going back for first the power went out, and now it's like my neighbor quickly had to pick up something from me. So I'm back and forth. It gives you guys a chance to catch your breath from my ranting and clear your heads. But when it comes to CM Punk, first of all, I understand the video game aspect of it. The game aspect is simple. They pulled this guy out of there. I shouldn't call him an idiot because he's not bad. It's just sometimes being a loose cannon doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might not be liked in the locker room because you are a bigger star and you want to keep that place. Look at Hulk Hogan. Everybody kind of frowned on him when he went to WCW. And he was the bigger star. Even though you had Flair and the Horsemen, you had Sting and Luger, they just didn't have that level like Hogan had. In this case, being AEW, and I'm not going to call it an indie company, but it is in some sense, their biggest star was Kenny Omega and a couple others. Punk opened the door for Daniel Bryan's, to John Moxley, even though he was there. Chris Jericho was the bigger star out of all of them. But Punk came in and he, did his thing and he was drawing numbers. It's just, he put it like this. He went up against a new version of the Click. And guess who lost the pony on this one?
Well, it was obviously it's Punk. And the sad thing is that, Punk talked about when he first, got signed, how he wants to nurture all the younger talent, wants to, pass the candle and teach them, and kind of like what Chris Jericho is doing. But he did nothing but beat everybody else. The only person who he lost to was MJF.
Yeah,
who was already getting pushed.
When you were saying that about him helping out the talent, I was doing the jerk off motion, like
yeah, bullshit, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Punk is for him. Punk is for himself. Now,
exactly.
Is he a draw? Yes. Does people pop when his music comes on, just like Jericho? Absolutely. But in a gaming settings, I understand because now you got to literally pull his character out. You got to remove all indications of him. You got to remove his cult of personality music, which is probably programmed in there. So they had to remove that. Any graphics, anything similar to him that's in the game, you had to pull that out. And sometimes when you do that, it could screw up another character. So I can understand why the game was delayed. That because I even see it when I play WWE 2K22. You download a character. If you download like a series of characters and you delete one because you don't want it, it might affect somebody else's characters or it might affect the gameplay. So you got to be careful when it comes to that. So that's why I understand. And then the legalities of it all. So you want to make sure there's nothing in there that somebody can say, oh, look, they did the go to sleep. That's Punk's.
Actually, the go to sleep is not Punk's.
Right, but it's more known for Punk doing it.
Correct. But Kenta has actually did go to sleep before Punk did.
Oh yeah, and very successfully too.
Yeah.
But where? In Japan.
True. But
the land where Godzilla stomps people left to right and nobody gives a damn. The only people making money in Japan are the contractors who keep rebuilding the models so he can stomp it all over again.
Oh, jeez.
And by the way, speaking about Godzilla, there is a new Toho Godzilla movie coming out next year. So it's not like the one of Legendary, like you saw now with Kong versus. It's actually they're gonna do it similar to the one. It's like a prequel. So make sure you guys check that out. I'm a big Godzilla mark. But anyway, Rick, that's why. And then they still have to do the thing where Punk has to be separated. Maybe this is a time where the reason he fully hasn't been separated yet from the company and is maybe Tony is trying to see if things will calm down enough to see if they can bring people to the table. All right, Bucks Omega, can we work with this guy? Can you Punk work with them?
Well, it
If
doesn't
it
even have to work with them. I mean, any
well, he
professional
does.
could,
Well, he does. He has to be in the ring with them at some
not
time or another.
necessarily. Who's to say they don't actually have to work together?
Yeah.
Oh, here we
Okay.
go. Terry 3G says honorable mentions Dark on YouTube last night. Abaddon versus Leva Bates had an awesome match with hilarious high spots. I did see that. She's an awesome. Both of them were really great. So go ahead, Rick.
Uh, okay, I lost my train of thought. But anyways, I mean, there's no
Every
reason
time I
why two
talk, that's
people
what
who
happens.
don't like each other that can work in the same company, they don't have to wrestle in the same ring. Hell, they don't have to be in the same locker room because Punk always has his own. So, I think Punk can show a little bit more strain during media scrums and shut his mouth and just simply say no comment. He talks about people being unprofessional, but trashing people. Even when he did in a previous media scrum, where he goes, "Well, if those few little people who don't like me, well, they're nobodies." And he really kind of it was a backhand insult without really pointing names out. It was just again very childish and unprofessional. And me, of course, Tony Khan was sitting there like, okay, like almost begging Punk to shut up without actually making a look. I can remember that. So, anyways, but I honestly think that Punk is sitting out on his contract because he doesn't need to leave anywhere or go anywhere right now, and he can still get paid while he's out on injury. Lance, your thoughts on about all this mess?
Well, I keep hearing he's in the game, he's out of the game, he's in the game, he's out of the game. Right now, I don't know damn whether he is or not.
Sounds like a bad
Earlier
booker.
this week, I heard he was still in it. They just weren't advertising. But honestly, if Punk comes back, and that's a big damn if, you got a better chance of Vince McMahon coming up on Raw saying Chris Benoit. But he definitely want a deadbolt on that locker.
Yeah, no shit. Hold on. Mark K said Tony needs a real PR person for Media Scrums podcast. You know what? And Mark, that's a very good point, Joe, because you have Tony Khan, who pretty much doesn't really know when to just shut somebody down. I mean, I don't know if he doesn't want to be embarrassed or do I say I won't say scared or intimidated of Punk at the time.
No, it's what he doesn't grasp is he doesn't have a way of literally stepping in and moving the topic along. He doesn't have that McMahon thing. I hate to say it like that. Vince McMahon says, "All right, we're moving on to something else," and not giving a damn if the person was finished or not. Tony doesn't have that. Tony wants to give everybody an equal time, but when something starts going south, he doesn't go and change. He doesn't know how to follow it up. When somebody goes off script, he doesn't know how to take it. You got MJF goes off script, and technically he stays on script because he has to probably get everything approved.
Yeah.
For what he's gonna say.
I'm guessing what he did at Full Gear Media Scrum, I'm guessing that was like, well, kind of off the hip, but I'm sure that Tony Khan well knew what was going to happen.
No, not only that, he knows if you stay on script, if you do a media scrum, and even in a similar way on an indie level, we did that, where we did a little press conference. It's knowing that who you put in there that can generate who can do the talking without taking this shit full south. And in cases, the individual, if this was Vince McMahon, he'll pull MJF over and says, all right, this is what you're going to say. This is how you're going to say it. Don't add shit because I will cut your mic and we will push you off and then you're going to pay a fine. That's balls. When you now got Tony Khan, who lets first MJF do his thing, and he did it. He had to go obviously by script because not once did they cut that mic off, you know. So when Punk did it, Punk probably said, yeah, we'll do that, and then went off on his own way of doing things. So that's where you saw the scenario come down. And with Punk, what he did was he was berating everybody else. He wasn't doing that. He was trying to be the heel without being the full heel, but he was like...
I think he was just being a dick. There's a difference between being a heel and being a dick.
Yeah, basically that's what he was. And he was hoping that whatever he generated was going to work. And unfortunately, you pissed off the wrong people. And he wasn't apologetic of it. So he wasn't like, look, guys, I'm sorry. It was the spur of the moment. I'm sorry. Let's pull this aside. If he would have done that, the situation with him and Omega and everybody else involved would not have been any problem. So I think, honestly, that's where we are. That's where the separation between MJF and Punk goes. And Punk, he's a great talent. He knows what he's doing. He's got his, media and he got his stuff. But he's also for himself, Rick. Even though, he's a draw, he is for himself. He doesn't really care. It's not like Chris Jericho who cares about talent because they knows they got to move the talent up. Unfortunately, Tony Khan doesn't believe in that. So where he's going to go from now, they're probably going to see if they can iron this situation out, get Punks to sit down with him, sit down with the Bucks and Omega, kind of see what kind of middle ground can they do before they actually remove him from the company wholly. And imagine if he's got anybody know how long his contract is, Lance? Rick?
I believe it's 3 or 5 years, but I'm guessing 3 years.
From still now, right?
Remaining? When did he sign? He signed what? Was it 2021 or? I believe it was 2021.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so he still has 3 more years. He could be. If you break a contract, you have to still pay him those remaining years.
Well, that's why I'm guessing he's sitting out.
Exactly. Or that they haven't outright fired him, because if you fire him, then and again, it goes by contracts. If they fire him now, they're still entitled to pay that contract. If he doesn't quit, then the contract is nullified. If he quits and it's nullified, then he could sometimes end up owing them. So, or it could break away, no problem. So I'm guessing he's either waiting it out to see what happens, or Tony hasn't really made the mark to say, okay, I'm going to fire him, but then I got to give him all this money.
I, for some reason, had this weird feeling that, okay, Punk's injured with, I think, what is his elbow or something?
No, I think it's actually, I think he's a tricep, similar to what happened with Cody Rhodes, but not as severe.
And they said he'd be out like 6 to 8 months.
Something like that, yeah.
Could Tony Khan be kind of waiting and seeing whether once they get some space between the incident, see if closer to that 5 or 6 months out, they might be able to try to work something?
Well, if you're talking about cooling off, that could be a possible thing he's doing. Like I said, right now he could do nothing but sit up and be uninjured anyway. So, I don't see. Do I see Punk kind of coming back and shaking hands? And no, not really. Punk seems to be too resentful, and he really holds shit. He holds a grudge. So unless if Tony Khan bribes him or CM Punk kind of like smartens up or just grows up, so to speak. No, I don't see those two. So, um, and also you have to consider that Punk is injury prone. Since he's been in
Yeah.
AEW, he's had 2 injuries. First, he's injured his foot. He came back, and then he injured his tricep. So, I mean, it's not like this guy was wrestling week in and week out. His first year, I think the first 6 months he wrestled in, but he wrestled against jobbers and nobodies just to get his wins and losses. But once he got the title, he had a couple of matches, and then he got injured, and then came back.
And the next match he got injured.
Get injured again, yeah. So.
And sometimes and I hate to say this because I don't know if it's actually facts, but sometimes when you know you're so over, you can actually have yourself play this injury roll out, and kind of just, like, oh, I'm injured, guys. I'm going to hobble home. Don't worry. And maybe twerk the ankle a little bit or something so you don't have to go back to work. Oh, I'm going to be out, guys. But it's a guaranteed contract. So we've seen it in WWE all the time. Terry 3G says Sting is more physically healthier than CM Punk.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly my point.
True.
And Sting actually works a little bit, definitely more than Punk.
No kidding. And the guy's like, well, what? Was he 60? Am I referring to Sting?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Punk's in his mid 40s. I just honestly think that, I hope that he leaves one way or another because I don't think he's going to be missed. I just don't need another, as MJF says, another ex-WWE star coming in to steal the spotlight, and Punk has loved stealing the spotlight. What I think Punk should do, and I mean this wholeheartedly, he should get a fucking podcast if he's so popular.
Oh, no, don't push him, Rick.
He would.
He might get as popular as Ryback.
No, I'd say more like Jim Cornette, but,
Then he would be popular.
All right, guys. You know what? We're going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
Oh, hold on.
Wait a minute. Hold the phone. See, Terry said Sting is 63. I was about to say that too.
Damn.
And
this isn't Sting's first rodeo. I am sure his dates are very limited. Yes, Sting's are. We didn't touch about the little bit of news tippet where Steve Borden, Terry 3D says Steve Borden born March 20th, 1959. Okay, so he's 10 years older than me. So he's definitely 63. Okay. Now that we got Sting's retirement pay out of the way, Papa Sting can go wait on. Grandpa, go sit in the corner, stop painting your face.
It's showtime, folks.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Damn, that sounds like if Santa Claus was a wrestler. Anyway, put that shit down, Mrs. Claus. I'm going to jump off the top rope. Oh yeah. Imagine
all right. So what was your other rant you wanted to bring to the table?
My other rant was Sasha Banks.
Oh God.
Oh hell.
Here it comes, guys. Hope you guys get another hour.
I think these folks will love another hour. I think they enjoy our show. God forbid, imagine, I love them to death. Imagine if Andy were here. Nobody will get anything else out of us. It would be me and Andy fucking ranting for hours. Anyway.
And I'm going, boss, are we still alive? We haven't got pulled yet, have we?
Nope, not yet. We're still live.
The fucking FCC is knocking on Rick's door and having him and locking him up and already escorting him to the squad car. How dare you put these motherfuckers on? Anyway, Sasha Banks has decided to trademark not only her gimmick name that we talked previously, but her real name, and also for merchandise. She is now listed as an actor or actress. Fucking politically correct motherfuckers. It's an actress, not an actor. She's not a man. Fucking Nia Rose is a man. Sasha Banks, no. She's just a twit. Anyway. She registered her name, Rick, and she is now listed As for podcast acting, she's also for merchandising and as a performer for sports entertainment. So with that, she's legally can go to any other wrestling company under her own trademarks, under her own merchandise style now. So she's kind of got the Snoop Dogg spot in, you know. Yeah, we're gonna go past the TV time limit. Hey, we're not the NWA of Jim Crockett Promotions. So Rick, that opens up the door for her to do other things and keep almost you could say her franchise going for merchandise and all that. So if she doesn't want to go to WWE now there's options open where she can literally hit the indie scene, make tons of money, and sell merchandise all for her and do acting as well as podcasts and all that without WWE getting on her. Thought I'd just throw that tidbit in.
Well, also, once you brought that tidbit in, I guess she said in the interview she has no desire to go to AEW. So if she goes back to WWE, she's going to have to go back as Sasha Banks, or she's going to have to really make a good fight and come back as her name. Is it Mercedes? I forget the last name.
Mercedes Monet.
Monet, thank you. So, guys, we're going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. Again, I want to thank Terry 3G and, of course, Mark K for coming on in. You guys know that we have our HW chat room in the YouTube. Wow, I can't talk today, guys. I should have smoked before. In the Facebook group section, the HWR chat room, we give you the latest news, rumors, the baby of the day. I also cover Dynamite, pay-per-views, and much, much more. So, before we give this, I want to give another shout out to Mr. and Mrs. A over at BC Games and More, and then they can find them over at YouTube, where they play a lot of retro games. They do trivia, give out gifts, and they do a hell of a lot more. And they're just a really cool couple to hang out with. Again, BC Games and More. So, all right, thank you, Terry. Joe, you're over at Skeleton Realms. What do you got going?
Well, I do a lot of gaming streams. I do games from yesterday, today, from retro to current, from consoles to PC. I am on Skuldrin's Realm. Just do the hashtag Skuldrin's Realm. I am on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm also on Instagram, and I am on Twitter at Skuldrin. Make sure you guys send them the proper messages. Don't send it to that bogus email. I mean a legit email. Yeah. So with that, just check me out. I'm always doing retro games. I'm starting to go back to doing retro games. And I just played the other time. I did a stream called They Are Here, which is an alien abduction horror game. Made me scream at the top of my lungs. So definitely check that out on Steam. It's free. It's a demo. And there's a lot of other games. So just keep following. And if you guys want the HWR t-shirts and Skuldrin's Realm t-shirts, make sure you go to skulldrinsrealm.live. Go hit that merch button, and you're going to see all about t-shirts there. It helps support not only the show, but it supports everybody here. There's my pitch of the day. And BC Games and More is on Facebook. Saturdays, 9:30.
All right. Lance, you over at Lance Moss TV. What do you got going on?
Well, right now it's just us going live on Tuesdays at 7:05 Central, 8:05 Eastern. I kind of sprinkle in Redneck Gourmets where I can because, one, it's hectic around here because it's the holidays, and two, well, y'all seen the price of food right now, so I do what I can, but I have a couple of constrictions.
Yeah, it's easier to cut out fucking pictures of food and eat it now.
Well, there you have it, guys. For the Hardcore Crew, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see ya when we see ya.
Buy your shirt!
We are at the home of rants.